All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Experience Points, XP Weekly. I am one of the two co-creators of the show. My name is Timothy, and with me is my lovely co-creator and co-host,
Kate.
Kate. And we're here to watch some of the episodes of the first season of Experience Points. We're going to give some creator commentary. We are currently in the process of fundraising for our second season, which you can find here on Patreon. Let me talk to Moobot a little bit and get some information. If you guys don't know what XP is, which I hope you do, you can check it out there on YouTube. It is a 12-part D&D web series about Dungeons and Dragons that we made last year, and it got an enthusiastic response, I think, from our small community. And based on that response, we're currently fundraising to launch a second season of Experience Points. So go ahead and check out our Patreon there. If you become a patron of our Patreon campaign, there's a whole bunch of goodies. In addition to which, every single dollar that you donate helps go to create a second season. But that's not really why we're here today. Today, we're going to watch some season one. We're going to provide some exclusive, commentary about
Some red carpet commentary about the last four episodes.
There you go. Thank you for coming out tonight on Oscar night to listen to this instead of watching the Oscars.
Which I think they start at 6 or something. So,
well, 6 p.s. Yeah, we're out here on the West Coast, so maybe it's a different time for other people. But no, I suppose it would all be the same time. You're right. Time zones, confusing. Why do we have them?
Well,
physics.
Farmers.
Absolutely. Kate, so we last watched episodes 5 through 8 last week, and this week we're going to watch the last 4 episodes of the show. Do you have anything you want to say before we roll into our first of these 4 episodes?
No, I think these are all 4 very different episodes. Well, I guess 11 and 10 and 11 are kind of similar-ish.
Similar, yeah.
But the other 2 are pretty different, I think, in style and how they were done. So I think that's kind of interesting. I'm excited to talk about that.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you did miss us last week, previously on Nightspear, our heroes just recently discovered that their patron, the Duchess Nightspear, is actually wrapped up in an ancient snake cult and has been torturing her elven prisoners in the dungeons below their castle. They are now about to embark on a lengthy discussion about what to do about this information, and that is our episode 9. Let's do it. You want to play that episode?
Yeah.
Let's get started. All right.
It does not want to play.
An armored footstep.
There we go.
From somewhere down the corridor behind you.
I like the setup of this episode just because it's more eerie stuff, but
We're down
with
a culvert right next to the
urgency,
cell.
which I think is
Right, we'll duck to the side.
exciting.
Make a stealth check.
Yeah, the group seems like a little almost morose in the beginning, like a little somber about like, God, what do we do? Like there's this kind of dread that's hanging over the party, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
7 and a
It does still have that
16, so I think
creepy
we'll go with 16 for
sneaking through the catacombs
You guys are good.
sort of vibe.
Yeah,
Mine's
I
really
think
good,
like the
21.
music is starting to shift a little bit too. Like the music that we picked
With
is a little more like
surprising grace, the four of you managed
intense
to
instead
dart
of
from
just
sight.
ambient.
Yeah.
Is what
Which is
now
kinda
sounds
nice.
like a number of figures approaches
So
down the corridor. Torchlight creeps closer, allowing
we're gonna see here pretty soon.
They pass blank their faces.
Perception.
Now, if you're all looking, you can see them as they pass.
yeah the group with the Dutch.
There's an interesting thing here too, where I'd like to wonder. Even I, as the screenwriter, don't 100% know the ratio to which Alan is improvising and what Alan has planned.
Next,
Like, it's pretty clear that they've gone off the rails, and something he even says later, but
was a breastplate.
has he just decided that she's going to go do this ritual right now? Was the plan always to have her go and do the ritual once the canopic jars get revealed or brought back to her, right? Like, how much was planned and how much is him just saying, well, they figured it out, so it seems like they should have a confrontation with her in a more interesting location than, like, her bedroom, which is where they normally go confront her, right?
I always kind of wondered
never-
if like had they not found her doing this, if she would just carry out this ritual and that would be just like this repercussion that maybe they would trip on later, like the next time they came back to Nightspear, if they'd be like, oh my god, all of this is different because she did this other thing, or if they hadn't found it now, she would have just still done it and rendered in the background and then come back to it.
It's maybe a little boring of an answer, but, and I don't think this is the official one, this is just my theory as the screenwriter. my theory as a dungeon master would be that he's doing this intentionally. That once they stumble on this thing, he realizes that the Duchess has basically a short window of time left before she gets confronted, and he wants her to go out kind of as cool as possible. So maybe he had the idea to have her use the canoptic jars in a ritual at some point down the line, but I doubt he would have done it that first episode right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Anyway, so we're on our second break.
I don't
now,
know.
it looks
I
like,
think it's cool.
and we're about to dive into the real meat of this episode. Kate, do you want to talk about the process of shooting this one? Because it's kind of like our previous break episode in that it's a little different.
We've been running around.
Yeah,
the way it's shot.
this one was actually a little trickier because we wanted to try and do kind of like this roaming camera like we did last time, but because of the conversation happening, there's more to it, and we should have done more like single shots of like each person without it moving, because then in editing it became trickier to like. We just had so many roving shots, and like we were getting down to the amount of time that we had left to film all of this stuff, so like we were kind of on a time crunch anyway, which didn't help. But yeah, if
She's also at war.
this episode made me nervous, A, because it's really talky, which we were already nervous about.
It's not that it's
It's extremely talky. It's probably the talkiest episode.
Yeah,
It's not so
and
black
B,
and white as
because
that.
we didn't have like as much time to really.
Though it is that black and
It's a completely different style of
She was saying
filming than
her
we've been doing
best
before,
game
which is
was
just
just
kind of
the
like setting up
conversation
cameras and
bullshit.
pointing at different angles and stuff. And this one had to be like roving camera and be like, oh wait, let's take it back to this line, and like the amount of coverage that we got a little
to us, though, she's
muddied,
fighting a war.
so there wasn't always like a good option for like a certain angle or something. Which I think it's fine. Like I think it worked and it cut together.
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of interesting that we spend some time looking at characters that aren't speaking, and it's almost more about reaction shots than it is about, you know what I mean? So seeing people, like the rest of the show is pretty traditionally, I'm talking, so you have coverage on me. I think what's cool about this one is we get a little glimpse at people reacting and taking in news, and it feels more like a discussion, almost like you're there and you're the one saying it, and you're watching what the rest of the party, how they're reacting to your idea.
Yeah.
Kind of puts you, it's not really POV, but almost puts you in the perspective of the current speaker, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, I feel like it's maybe a little more anticipating.
Yeah.
Like as the viewer, like whoever we cut to, you're at points you're anticipating a reaction mainly from Perkins most of the time, because he has like the biggest opinion I think at the table, and then you kind of forget about maybe like Greg or Nadine for part of the time. So then you cut back to them and you're just like, well, what do you guys think? So I feel like we got lucky in that there was a lot of downtime kind of for everybody, that we could at least show moments of them just processing. But I think that was more luck than like our really good planning for this one, just because it kind of went different.
Right. I think you hit on a good point there with kind of the writing this episode was sort of a challenge, because how do you make an argument of this length be compelling, and how do you approach them without it just being like these characters yelling at each other? So you kind of touched on some of the core tenets here, that Perkins and Mac are kind of the two opposing fronts. You have spare her, she's a really important NPC, and you have, defeat her, she needs to be brought down, I don't care about her history.
Yeah.
And then you have Nadine, who kind of, in her sort of indecisive way, kind of waffles in between and like isn't ever totally sure which side she should fall on. Greg then remains quiet for most of the discussion, and then comes in at the end with not necessarily the decisive opinion, but with a much more well thought out, reasoned argument. He ends up siding with Mac, but to me it's totally conceivable that given time he could have landed on Perkins' side too, right? But he just happens to land with Mac because I think Perkins even sort of knows. You can see Perkins kind of throughout the argument like slowly lose ground and be like, well, okay, but what if... So hopefully it's not just this boring talking in circles kind of thing. I wanted to put a dramatic arc or narrative arc through the argument as well. They start one place, very much opposed to the idea of confronting her, and they end up basically resigned to like, well, we have to, there's no choice.
Yeah. I think this episode was probably the most exhausting of all of the episodes, mainly because of the content. Like, there's so much talking from everybody and remembering things, but then like also the mood itself is just very tense, and I think it's a little exhausting to watch just because of the argument factor. But I think that's good and what we wanted. Like, we wanted it to be like, we wanted it to feel like a real conversation that if you made it to this point and you're still watching, you're hopefully invested in the answer too, and like you have your own opinions and are kind of like arguing on it. Like sometimes these are the most interesting sessions to have, or like the ones that are just talk and argument and planning based instead of just action based. But we were a little worried that the lack of any kind of gameplay action would be detrimental to
Yeah, it's kind
viewership.
of the point of no return. Like if you've gotten this far, hopefully you're invested enough. But you're exactly right. I mean, it's very much inspired by a lot of real sessions at our table where this would happen. Maybe not necessarily for. I mean, yeah, about the length that it happens here. I've seen sessions where about 2 hours of the 3-hour time is devoted almost exclusively to strategy and sort of world politics and how do we do this without looking like bad guys, or what's the only kind of a dilemma. Like we have no good course of action.
Right. That was like. I mean, one of my favorite things that we did when I was in your campaign, Timothy, for a couple of years, was you know the one I'm talking about. There's like a strategy thing we were planning where we had to decide if we wanted to try and kill this being, and it was like at least 2, if not 2.5 hours of just like planning. But I feel like that's such a realistic part of the gameplay too, because when you're in it and when you're in like an extended campaign, like you do get invested and you get involved, and it's great because it's literally just you talking with your friends about made up scenarios, but you're like so passionate about it, and then later you're just like okay, and then you can like talk as friends and it's fine, but like in the moment you're just like this matters so much. I don't know.
The real personalities surface there, right? Like Perkins has a lot at stake in this NPC, and if that NPC were to die or get imprisoned, like that will irrevocably change the campaign and his character. Whereas Mac very much wants to have a good first impression when she comes in and wants to come out playing her character the right way, and her character is not going to sit there and wait and be polite. So the real people kind of get their own personalities involved for sure.
Can go down without dealing a serious blow to Darzovia in the process.
And they all make push points too. I also like Alan drifting in the background. I was always worried about that happening because I was just like, is he just gonna look like some random accident of like, whoops,
like a crew member,
sound guy just walking around the background. So I was always worried about that.
No, I think it's I think it's nice. He's pretty smug.
Your favorite line coming up though, right?
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorites. My only line in the actual discussion proper. It's just to dispense information. I don't even know if we see me when I say it. I don't think so.
No, we just hear you.
She's been hiding them from us the entire time.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. We have people show up. Thanks, Kailani. I'm glad you make it out. Nice to see you, Herm. Yeah, I agree. I think the player backstory stuff is really fun. The trick was just to, Herm says, I enjoyed the little player backstory moments. Breaks were fun. The trick was always to not overwhelm you with too much of their real lives. I kind of wanted to keep the real lives a little mysterious. That like you get little glimpses, but you're never fully informed about everything about them, right? Like you're left wanting more. So I'm glad that's worked out.
Do you have a solution then?
I forget where it even is.
Not an elegant one.
Oh, sure. I meant like where my delicious line is.
Soon, I think.
Yeah. Because Nadine proposes the solution. That's one of the few little pop culture references in there. I didn't want it to be like loaded with too many of them, but there's obviously a couple of Lord of the Rings references. There's the one Star Wars reference in episode 8. It's right here.
She has no heirs.
They won't trust me.
Oh, no, never mind. Not quite yet. I jump in. Sorry, I jump in and then some things happen. Some dialogue that you wrote happens.
It was actually really uncomfortable to lean against that wall for like 45 minutes. Because like it's not a supernatural position to be in. Like you don't really think about it. Who cares? Why am I talking about like me in this dumb scene?
I think you had to like sink down a little bit too. We're like, we need you to bend your legs slightly. So can you squat a tiny bit for 45 minutes?
I'm in this weird squatting position back there.
What's the thing they have in Gondor? Steward, sure.
Yeah, right. A little bit of
back
lore
there, not
about
mic'd up
Gondor,
or anything.
Gondorian politics for you. Check it out.
What's worse for Dozo? The depraved Duchess, who sacrifices her own.
This one. Go ahead, Kate.
I do really like how. I like how everyone acts this scene, but I also I think Cody it's such a different way for him to act than how he is the rest of the season. It's just nice to see him having such like strong, slowly stated opinions. I don't know. We don't get that much of him doing that as often.
He's been pretty laconic, and so it's interesting to see like him come out of the shell a little more here. I almost said come out of the closet, which would have an entirely different meaning, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
to see that he's not just a quiet, shy person. That he's pretty thoughtful, and that he's put a lot of time and thought into all the events that have happened thus far and that kind of thing.
He's just as invested. He's not just
Get
a
a lot
guy
of-
who's really lucky at his attendance.
Yeah, exactly.
No. What?
Uh,
Not sure shipping her across the continent is our best move.
well, I
Why,
mean,
thank you, Kailania. She says, best part of the series was it didn't feel like acting at all, really. That's
Cool.
super
Thanks,
nice of you
guys.
guys to say.
Like, she
Our actors do a great job. With some, we've talked about this before, with some extremely tricky material. Not only is it math and numbers, but it's just talking, and it's all about things that don't exist. And just trying to make it seem as natural as possible. While just playing make believe. Ugh, who's that? Yuck.
Just didn't want to, you know.
Me and my enormous hooded sweatshirt that I'm currently still wearing.
hey.
Heyo. I only have one shirt. 2 shirts, and I'm wearing them both.
Man, I wonder what they do, you know?
Yeah. That's a classic line of mine, too, is what do you do or what do you guys do? You guys walk into the room, you see this, and this. What do you do, right? I believe Critical Role has a take on it, but I forget the specific wording of it, but it's a similar
What do you
similar
choose?
phrase. Yeah, what do you choose or whatever it is. All the critters in the audience are screaming at me right now. Like, how dare you?
Yeah. Well, you were just joining us, which I am not sure if any of you are, but if you are, we are the creators of Experience Points, which is a 12-part web series about D&D and the people who play it. I am one of the creators, Kate, and I'm with...
Oh, I'm sorry, is it me? Why, I'm Timothy J. Meyer. I am also one of the creators of this show.
Wow! Well, right now we're bringing you commentary for the last 4 episodes of Season 1. We are doing this sort of on par? No, with our Patreon that we are also running to help us fundraise for Season 2, which will be shot next year. If you're not already a patron, please consider going over there and patronizing us. All of the money goes to Season 2, so we don't make any of it, and I have to feed my McDonald's habits elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't checked out the series, you should. It's on YouTube. Check it out later, not now. And I mean, if you want to instead of the Oscars,
Right. I mean, I
fine.
think we all know what's
That's
the
your
correct choice
that's
there.
whatever.
between
I guess it's your
Rewatching
choice.
a year-old web series on YouTube and watching the Oscars. I think we can all make the right decision.
Yeah, it's up to you. I
Awesome.
guess I'll let you decide.
So that was episode 9 we just watched. I think we're about
Mm-hmm.
to roll into episode 10. Is that correct, Kate?
Yes, that is correct numerically.
Numerically. I don't know numbers very well, but I do know
I
some.
do know this.
Anything you want to say about episode 10 before we get rolling into this one?
I like. There's little bits in this. I like the camera angles that we used. There's some new things in here, and then also some very tricky continuity things that kind of later became a nightmare. But
Oh, I don't remember. We'll have to get into that.
10
I'm
and
not recalling.
11 both had continuity things, but
Okay, well, let's point them all out to lower our production value.
well, I don't think it wasn't. It was just in filming. It wasn't in editing.
Oh, I see.
So it's just we had to
Got
redo
it.
a lot of things because of tiny little map issues. So
Yeah, totally. Oh, that's right. Yes, now
Yeah.
I remember. Oh, good lord.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this is a fun one. This is our big climactic end battle sequence. So strap in, folks. This is going to be kind of a double parter. Go for it, Kate. Roll that
Cool.
beautiful bean footage.
no,
Yes.
It is a simple task.
I do like the
Follow
music in this
the
one too
Duchess
because
Spear
like
by
I did
torchlight,
I found like this
stalking
weird.
of her
We got this
guards
weird like
through the
jungle-ish
twisting catacombs.
music. Anyway,
It is
all
much
about the
harder to
music.
do so silently.
Yeah, it's great. Kailania came in and, first of all, yes, firmly, we do need to get Timothy a shirt Kickstarter. That should be a great Patreon reward, like buy Timothy a new costume.
And
But yeah, yes, Kailania, you're correct. Quote, how do you want to do this, end quote, I believe is Matt Mercer's version of what do you guys do.
Okay.
Guys, I
yeah,
cannot
totally.
believe We're doing this.
Uh,
If this doesn't go the way we want,
Go the way we want.
Awesome.
Boned anyway, so.
We were
Yeah, so we're jumping into this.
boned anyway.
both we were sort of
we
boned.
were boned anyway.
chamber.
A shout out here to one of my DM idols, Christopher Perkins. I have learned a lot about drawing maps and mats from him and his illustrious The Dungeon Master Experience article that he ran on Wizards for a couple of years. If you haven't checked it out, I would tell you to look at it, but it's been
Like
since
this.
taken down. which is really a shame. But a lot of my style, and particularly my map drawing style, comes from his palette. He is a big inspiration to me as a Dungeon Master. In case you couldn't tell from the character that is named after him in the show. Big long description of this is a very, they're playing 5th edition, but I always thought of this as a very 4th edition combat, where it's a big complicated room with multiple monsters and weird terrain effects and different things going on. It's something that I don't think 5th edition supports as well as 4th, but I'm trying, even in my own campaigns, to make an active effort to include more big, fantastical set-piece encounters. Say what you will about 4th, it definitely had its fair share of problems, but it always felt very epic to me. We did not have a difficult time coming up with some crazy, wacky combats.
Do you want to... I think it took you a little bit to figure out what you wanted the snake symbol to look like.
I did doodle like 6 or 7 different versions of the snake symbol. Unfortunately, because of the glare here, you can't see it super well. But immediately behind Alan's head at the moment, there is a sticky note that's meant to like sort of commemorate my struggle, where it's like 3 or 4 different versions of the snake symbol, and several of them are X'd out, and then one of them is finally circled. You may be able to see it better in a different episode when I'm standing more center of frame as opposed to kind of off to the side there. But yeah, it took a while. It's a cool little symbol. I should find a closer picture of it and post it. But it's kind of like a poor man's Ouroboros with 2 sort of serpents entwining, but it isn't exactly that symbol. Here's my copyrighted Duchess Knight Spear pose, which is the like Catholic schoolboy like choir. You can't see the hand gesture, but it's definitely Duchess this, right? Like I'm about to perform an aria. It's her pose for sure. Imagine wearing that breastplate is not very conducive. Oh hey, there you go, Kailania. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a link to the wonderful, wonderful article. Yes, and as Firmly points out in the chat, yes, we are using Hero Forge minis. They're a wonderful website. You should go check them out. We are not being paid to say that. We just really like what they do there. I have used them so far, not only in this, but in 2 of my personal campaigns. Use Hero Forge. They're pretty cool.
I really like how dramatic this gets with you. Like, I think it's a little like hammy, but I think that's the point. I don't know. I always enjoyed you just like really get into it. It's so funny to me. I love it.
Okay.
Because like
I feel bad that now you're saying like what a hammy performance. Like
not
a
like
year after.
no. Like I think that was always the point, obviously, because like it's such a dramatic moment for everybody, and then you're just like, Alan's sort of been waiting for this to happen. He's just like, what's gonna happen? But has to like be cool about it, and then like, I mean, he's very aware of how dramatic it is. It's great.
Sort of playing around. Like I had a hard time being entirely serious in this scene just because of how just ridiculously melodramatic it is at points. Again, I think it's in episode 11, but my favorite, most dramatic one is I have supplicated myself to the darkness is about as ridiculous as you can get.
I just feel like it's really accurate to the energy that can happen in those moments where you're just like, oh my god, boss fight! And everyone gets really excited, and it's like so...
And the prose gets exponentially more purple. Yeah, roll that sweet initiative. Here we go. Yeah, right.
Brian King.
Brian King. Yeah, Hermley, that's a great analogy. Basically, Jeremy Irons in the D&D movie. If you haven't seen that gem from the early 2000s, it's possibly one of the greatest pieces of hammy dramatic acting of all time. It's Jeremy Irons just chewing this nonsense dialogue. Have you not seen it, Kate? Have you seen that movie? She's gonna go watch it right now, chat. She's off to go watch. She'll be back in about 2.5 hours when that film is concluded. We're moving on to the combat here. We are with Fletch. Yo, you do have it. Look at you. I assumed that you... Oh, you can't hear me. I assumed that you hadn't watched it because it looked like you just like fled the scene when your D&D credentials were you're like, I...
Oh, you can explain. No, I fucking own it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It was worth me leaving to go and get to prove that I own.
Good.
So, yeah.
How's the fight going so far? Oh yeah, it's the silence.
The shoosh, yeah. I like that. She like started doing. She did a lot of that kind of on her own too, where she like started employing her like stone hand with stuff, and she would
Claw
add
hand. Yeah.
add that in, which I thought was kind of cool.
There's a little bit of truth in D&D happening here, where I'm getting a little bit. Alan, the character, is getting a little bit frustrated at like how quickly his encounters being dismantled by a handful of these spell effects. I didn't want to overdo it, but I did want to allow a little bit of. Okay, well, I made up this encounter on the spot. I'm glad I had this map lying here, but they're destroying it really quickly, and I'm a little bit bothered by that.
I like that shot a bunch.
It's
Yeah.
pretty easy.
Rarely would
Yeah.
that work.
Right. I agree. I think that you get a little more daring with some of these split screens as we go on, and I think that the show really benefits from that.
Well, and I have to cut. I mean, because we're in action and everything too, like I have to cut between things more often. So I was like trying to figure out all the different new combinations I could think of to like keep energy up and find new shot compositions.
Right.
So I didn't have to. I chose to look back at a lot of like graphic novels and stuff and just try and see how they did it.
That's very visible here. Kailania is complimenting your initiative tracker on the bottom of the.
Thank you. That was like a
Sure.
new thing that I had to learn, which was super exciting.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I like that it doesn't overwhelm the screen and get too complex. It's down there, it happens, but it's not distracting from the action.
Yeah.
I think they're also generally pretty. This is a stupid point, but is it Lady Celeste earlier and Lady C now? Because of what he writes. Yeah, because when he writes the initiative earlier, it's Lady Celeste, and when he writes it here, it's Lady C. Also, just because there's far more characters or like combatants in this one, so it's a little harder to squeeze it all in.
And I feel like Zai changes too. It was Zydromedes, and now it's Zai.
Yeah, now it's
so.
just Zai, because I think he's trying to scramble to get everyone ready.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
As we're about to see, is still another combatant we have not heard from.
Oh god, yeah, he's the one that like.
There's a funny little continuity error, but like suspension of disbelief, we're gonna call it, which I'll point out in a second. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Let's continue to speak in veiled code.
Ooh, yeah, exciting. Ooh, red carpet. Hashtag.
I enjoyed writing a lot of the parcel tongue because it's just a bunch of S's and X's. Fisek Thos Sumoth, I believe, is the chant. And the other one with the UNT abomination is Sisriek
Thasun Iasia.
Iathia. Yeah. Iasia? I think it's with S's.
Yeah.
You couldn't like if there was a job that was just like write a bunch of fake parcel tongue curses. That's what I would do the rest of my life. I would just write. I would be a con lagger, but only for extremely sibilant snake tongues. Here it comes. There's another one, another fun name.
Made entirely of stone.
Yeah, I wonder how much of this is Alan pulling this monster out of his butt. Like, it's clear that he has done a giant snake in the previous campaign, so he has this little mini. And maybe he has the name down, but I wonder if it's... I like to think that the combat is going very poorly for him originally, and then he's like, screw this, giant snake!
Fuck you guys.
Exactly. But yeah, so here I go, scrambling to write Sesesok in about 0.9 seconds. I don't think we see it, but it's written out extremely legibly on the whiteboard in a way that it is impossible for me to have written with my left hand that quickly. There you go. For tuning in to this XP Weekly, you get some juicy tidbits. Thanks, Herm. I appreciate that slow clap.
Yeah.
I'm
I feel
not sure
like
what it's a reference to, but I'll take it.
I feel like we could remember most of the lines that we all said throughout this entire. Well, you and me more so because we had to live with these episodes and edit them and rewatch them and stuff. But like, I feel like also once you're done filming, just like once you're done with a play or something, everybody knows everybody else's lines forever now.
That's the moment when you're truly fully memorized is when you're done.
Yep.
Yeah. Not when you start rolling, but when you're finished rolling.
Yeah.
There's a little math joke there too, where the math comes out 2 plus question mark equals less than 10, because she says like, "What's that total?" I don't know, less than what I need, less than 10. But like the math never actually gets solved, so we never actually show the result. Math jokes for everybody. Enjoy those.
Math jokes, math camp.
Come on. Math can't math least. Let's do it.
Wow.
So yeah, this is another kind of common. Yeah, there it is. Had to roll 1. There had to be one important, sort of mission critical nat 1 in there. But yeah, this was an important thing for me to convey as well. Was the combat that goes very poorly for you, based entirely on die rolls, right? It's never really Fletch's fault that the character, gets swallowed and thrashed around the inside of Sessok's stomach, but that just happens. I've seen so many combats go south because of a couple of bad rolls. I think that's one of the most universal D&D experiences of all time. Is getting, as she calls it, die fucked.
I don't know if we've talked about this, but like each of the characters have their own. I mean, that's obviously common too, but they all have their own die that are specific to their character.
Oh yeah,
like
you can talk about that.
Zai's are these like very fairy ruin kind of clear or like opaque blue die with red writing. I like Nadine's. They're all different colors, and one of her D20s is like a rainbow D20, and the other is just black with white for when she has to do like disadvantage or advantage. Greg's are the XP brand blue.
Yeah.
I think. And then Max they look like stone, but it's a gray and then a white. Yeah, 2 different kinds, which I think is kind of fun.
Yeah, there was a lot of thought that went into their specific die choices. Yeah, Kailania, as a reference to my ruler snake, I have as a dungeon master, I have a small menagerie of dumb cardboard monsters that I have made to represent things that don't fit into one square. So snakes, sharks, whales. I've done a couple others. Octopus tentacles was featured in a pretty recent adventure of mine. I did the 3 heads of a Darkulus, which is an extremely obscure monster from the Manual of the Planes. Go ahead and look up Darkulus if you want to see what I'm talking about. It's super weird and unnecessary, but yeah, I like to make little monster tokens. I think that was part of his aesthetic too, was that everything is hand-drawn and everything is homemade. There's not a lot of like fancy equipment that he's bought, right? He's got the mats, I guess, but those are pretty inexpensive. And he's got like a whiteboard. There's no fancy initiative tracker. It's all colored pencils and markers and maps he's specifically drawn.
Very homemade.
The table is maybe the most like extravagant thing he has. But again, the implication there is that he made it himself.
Right. This is like his main campaign that he's going to be investing in for a while. So he's like, fuck yeah.
And it's applied to only the same world, so a lot of the maps that are up on the back, even if they don't immediately pertain to this campaign, are still relevant to the world, right? That big city right behind him, for example. Getting that divine smite going, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those dice. This is pretty tricky too, right? Was figuring out which dice to roll and what numbers to land on and having all that stuff memorized. This was probably the most challenging episode, I think, for memorization of dice rolls and damage and that kind of thing.
Yeah. A lot of... And everything else is just so quick that it happens, so it's just like... lots of stuff.
Thanks, Kailania and Herm. I really appreciate the compliments on the map. Herm also wants to comment you on your table.
Yay, thanks. I am gonna restain it and then put like a really thick lacquer over it so that I can just use it as my actual dining room table at some point. So
yeah, that's very cool. It's boss as hell.
Yes. There's a lot of, like I think we mentioned before, but there's a lot of not issues that we had with the overhead shot for the combat, but like we would film each section, would be like, okay, this is the next thing that comes in, and we would move pieces around and like do the lines around it and then exit and then come in and do this other thing. And we kept like forgetting certain things and where they moved at certain parts because we had to redo certain sections. So like the overhead, it took like an hour or so, a couple hours maybe, to like
an unreasonable amount of time
do all the things.
It's essentially just coverage, right?
Right. Well, because we had to remember to be like, oh, but then this person, like, they got a crit, so then they had the candy, so then it was this. There's just like so many little tiny, because you're focused on just the map, but it's like there's so many other things around the edge of the table too that are different, and then it affected how people could sit in like the takes, because it's like, okay, well, you have to kind of keep the map clear. I don't know. It was a lot of like weird continuity that you wouldn't think of that had to happen with all of this stuff. So.
Oh, here comes the big reveal as well.
Yes.
Some people probably have guessed this earlier, but I like the idea that the players are just too enmeshed in the campaign to put this revealed together. But you can see how much Alan is excited about this.
So
I
excited.
can convey his excitement.
Where her hair should be.
Medusa! Medusa!
Lady Celeste. She turns her fiendish gaze upon you.
Yeah, this is my favorite cliffhanger as well.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, you hear the die, but you don't see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good work, Kate.
I did it. Me.
Way to edit that together, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, Jenks, what's up? Thanks for coming and joining us.
Jinx.
All right. If you are just joining us, like our good friend Jinx, what? We are Experience Points. We are Team XP. We're the creators of Experience Points, which is a 12-part D&D web series that you can watch right now, except don't because you're watching this instead.
The Adventure continues
no,
2018.
I messed up the thing.
Oh, how embarrassing. Oh,
There's egg
boy.
on my face.
Oh, boy.
But it's a great show. We enjoyed making it. You can go watch it on YouTube. We are currently in the process of fundraising for a second season of Experience Points, which you can check out on our Patreon. I'm pretty sure everyone currently watching is either a patron or knows about the Patreon, but I'm still going to post that there anyway, just in case you haven't. Every dollar that's raised through the Patreon goes towards the second season. Plus, there are a bunch of nice perks and fancy stuff that you can unlock by being a patron. A lot of those things pertain to this very Twitch channel and the campaign that we are, I think, only 2 weeks away from launching. It's going to be pretty exciting. We had a meeting about that campaign Thursday night, and people talked about character creation, and it's a wild, crazy idea that I think is going to be a lot of fun.
I'm very excited.
It's going to be cool. But right now, we are currently halfway through streaming the last 4 episodes of the first season of Experience Points. We just watched episode 9 and 10. We're about to roll into episode 11 here in a minute. I did not introduce us. I am Timothy. Yeah, 1 free chicken per month is definitely one of the perks, Kailania. It's definitely there. I don't know what the shipping is going to be like on that. Pretty
They didn't have to say it was alive.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's
So-
an old, rotten rotisserie chicken that's like 3 weeks spoiled that you get once per month. I am one of the creators and showrunners. I'm the screenwriter, and I play Alan. My name is Timothy J. Meyer, and I'm the only one here. There's no one else with me.
Correct.
Oh, wait, who's
Except
that?
wait, it's me, Kate. Me and my copy
Kate.
of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the director and co-creator of Experience Points, and I play Mackenzie,
Yeah,
the coolest
absolutely.
one.
Is this you trying to like get your name in the running for the upcoming D&D reboot that they're doing? Like just trying to hold up the. Because I mean,
That's
listen, Kate's
happening?
available.
Guys, let me send you my reel.
In fact, this
And
makes it
also my
excellent.
review.
Let's just
Yeah.
watch.
I own it. So, what more do you need?
All
And
right.
I have
Are we
watched
ready
it.
to roll into episode 11? Anything we want to say about that before we get started? Kate.
No, I think it's fun and exciting, and I like the tease of how it starts. I think that was like a fun thing for us to do. More flashbacks.
Agreed. Our last flashback, in fact. Let's do it. Let's roll right in. We are right back almost in the middle of the action. Roll that beautiful beat footage.
Fine, but not because you told me to.
Okay.
And those are Trevor's dice, because they're different.
Yeah, they're specifically green and gold, which are the 2 colors of his god, Lavander, who is definitely a different god than Lathander. Definitely different.
And definitely not pronounced lavender.
Yeah. Matthew
Definitely not.
Our actor, our beloved Matthew Pittner, had a little trouble with some of the verbiage. Because he only came in for the day, and so he wasn't as steeped in the world as some of our other actors. And had a little difficulty stumbling over a few of the names. Lyvander, Lythander, Lysander being one of them. He's a deer, though.
Whatever. He's the
a
cool
great
guy
friend of ours.
anyway, so it doesn't matter. He
Yes.
can do whatever he
I
wants.
really like this birdbath joke. I don't think this birdbath joke got as much due as it was due. Because I really like the idea of, can you make your arms like this so it can make you a birdbath? Like, not like, how do we cure him? Just like, you're a statue now, but I don't want you to be a dumb, useless statue. Right?
I like how it's written because of their interactions with each other. It feels way like chummy, and there's a lot of camaraderie and stuff. It's a different vibe from the XP that we're used to seeing, which I just think it's nice. Like it's this representation of the whole that
Hey, your microphone has gone a little robotic. I think you're okay. Try talking again.
No. Is this any
Okay,
better?
pretty robotic.
I don't know how to change it.
Let us know in chat if she continues to sound like a robot.
Just
I
help.
think you're okay. It happened. You're good. Okay. It happened for like a brief moment last week, and I didn't mention it, but then it was for a sustained period here. We are back in the present. I think you're okay, Kate. Sorry,
Okay.
folks.
I am a Terminator.
here.
Don't tell anybody.
You are absolutely a Terminator. We've just told everyone.
Oh God.
Back here in the present with the rest of the this combat. Lady Celeste has resisted being petrified for now. We'll see how the rest of this fight shakes out in a second here.
No. Okay.
Nope. No, it's clear.
All
We're
right.
getting a little loopy by this third one, guys.
Oh, and all the times you had to like come around, and this was
Yeah.
actually like trickier too because like you would start your line at different parts, or like you wouldn't be quite around the table, like getting to and from the table and everything. There's just so many foot traps for you down there, so like the continuity was always tricky.
Yeah. Ugh.
You see the serpent's head rears out towards the
Jinx Fox wants to know, how did I think of the name Sessok? It's so random, and I love it. Yeah, it's as I said, I will gladly name anyone's weird serpent monsters. We did some kind of a dungeon crawl about it a while ago, and we had a blast writing a bunch of dialogue for this bone naga that was in the middle of the dungeon. It was just lots of that kind of stuff, and I had a good time with it. Just lots of S's, man. S's and apostrophes. You know what I mean? That'll do it for you. Apostrophes are normally a bad call. I don't tend to put apostrophes in the names of my D&D monsters because there was like a period of time in the 80s and 90s, if you read a lot of fantasy literature, where people would just go bonkers with apostrophes to try to make things sound more exotic. So that's a rare example of an apostrophe for me. I don't do them too frequently, but I think it works well in Sessok.
Sassy Sock. Firmly.
Oh boy, Sassy Sock is how he's known to his friends in high school. Sassy Sock. Gross. But it is phonetically pretty similar. Sassy Sock. Yeah, here's Fletch redeeming himself. That sneak attack damage from inside Sassy Sock.
Oh no.
About to be spewed forth from his stone gullet.
Ugh.
I was going to use the word hoik here, which I like that word a lot. H-O-I-K. You see Sassy Sock sort of hoik. It's not a word I get to use a lot, but I did today.
You'll find a way.
I will always find a way to make hoik work for me.
Yep. There's like a lot of overlapping talk that isn't necessarily Sinologue in this episode, which I think is fun.
Yeah. I think we need more of it in upcoming seasons. It's a very D&D thing.
Sound-wise is trickier, but I think we'll be more prepared this time.
I don't care if it's harder for sound. I'm just gonna write. Can you imagine the entire second season was exclusively Sinologue, that no one ever spoke by themselves at any point? Wouldn't you like that, Kate?
I think I'd quit.
Yeah, Sassy Sock is his birth name, the Sock family. But he was like, "Mom, you can't call me that. Don't call me Sassy in front of my snake friends. It's a Sock, Mom." Yeah, absolutely. The poor ultra cool snake
I
just
feel
trying to
so
sound ultra
bad
cool.
for him.
Yeah,
It's a bummer. It's hard, you know?
being a yep.
Yep.
Thanks, Firmly. I appreciate that you like the Sinologue, unlike Kate, who does not like the Sinologue because it is difficult to edit around.
Not what I said. Not what I said.
That's what you meant.
I don't
Guys,
think so.
who do you agree with? Do you agree with me that it's awesome, or Kate that it's dumb? Make your decision. Team Kate or Team Tim.
Please,
Let's do
chat.
this.
Please. Cast your votes.
Oh, hold on,
Sassy
I'm gonna
Sock
call-
backstory.
I'm
Strahd.
back.
Strahd.
Yeah, there's our Strahd reference. Which is another little. I wanted to make the odd reference to D&D culture, but didn't want to go too far. There was originally a reference to Rael being a little like drizzed Doe Erden, for those of you in the know, but it ended up getting cut on the cutting room floor because it just didn't really work. It seemed like a reference for reference's sake, but here it seemed more necessary. I love that split. That's maybe my favorite split screen.
It's like the
When it's
shoulder
like
angel
about-
devil.
Yeah, and it's like about Rael's decision, and everyone comes in, and then when he makes his decision, they all go away. He's
Yeah.
like, no, it's my decision. It's like almost symbolism. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I am
It's
the
like I
best.
planned that. Yeah.
Oh. That's, you know what, Kylania, I agree.
Yes.
Hashtag XB, Team XB. It's much better. We're much better when we don't fight, Kate.
Thanks, Jinx. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go, Herm. Herm's on my team, though. So.
Okay, well, I got Jinx Fox. So, and I got half of Kylania. So.
Well, I also have Kylania.
Yeah, but I probably
We're
got.
already fighting over the kids. The divorce papers are not even drawn up, and we're already arguing. Anyway, let's talk about this episode instead of Chad. Soldiering on with your good work. Just wailing on Duchess Nightspear.
beating the
I think
crap out of
if
her.
she's a Medusa as written in the book, she would long ago have been splattered. But I think my justification was that she has slightly more hit points because she's also like a leveled paladin.
Yeah.
But
Got armor
yeah.
on and all this other stuff too.
Right.
She can't be that
You
easy.
just wail on her. Mac did like a prodigious amount, like 70 plus points of damage, I think it is, to because you've been basically saving all your spells. You haven't used a single spell, which if you are a paladin player in 5th edition, you know that paladins have a limited magical reservoir. But I like they can cast a certain number of spells. They can also sacrifice those spells to get smite. And I like the idea that Mac doesn't give one shit about spells and saves them all to deal extra damage. Like every single one of her spells is used for smite.
Literally
because
all
she
of
just
them.
Doesn't care about dumb spells.
Just want to hit people.
Exactly.
Why is that bad?
Here, I'm gonna switch on a light. So shield your eyes, children.
Oh my god.
God. It's got like, there you go.
It was like nothing happened right away. And I'm like, did you?
Right.
Is that just
I built that up
a weird
too much.
way to get out of here?
Oh, I like that joke. That your ace is 49. That's a very D&D joke to me. I tend to ask, 17 will hit you, right? And the snarkier players at my tables tend to reply with like, no, I got a 28, so.
Sorry. Also, I'm impenetrable.
Yeah, turns out.
You can never hit me. Goes right through. So, and it's mine now. Yeah.
Yeah, spell's dumb. Max Smash. I agree. And yes, you're exactly right, Jinx Fox, that is the joy of homebrew. That things are just what you want them to be, and no player can gainsay you. That's the one thing I will say, once again, in favor of 4th edition. The 4th edition opened the door a lot to just do whatever the hell you want, and the players just have to suck on it. Whereas in 3rd edition, there was a lot of emphasis on exactly what level was your monster, and that's not how a beholder works, and blah, 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 blah. Well, in 4th edition, they gave you a lot more license to just make up stuff, and I think that's carried over into 5th, which I really appreciate. That's my preferred style of DMing, is make it up and just explain it to the players, rather than having them rely on their own out-of-game knowledge. Sorry, random tangent about Edition Wars. Oh yeah, this is where Fletch has her sort of moment. I'm doing the muscles of the.
Like you're just like savagely into it. You're like, oh.
It's almost Joe Blut's chicken impression. It's pretty close to. Yeah, and I like this was also a very D&D moment to me too. Is remembering the obscure ability that you got at 1st level that you haven't used since 1st level, and having it come back and save your butt because you're like desperately scanning your character sheet. Like, what can I do? Do I have anything?
And it works, and then she's just like scrambling to make like other things happen. Like, okay, and then this means.
Yeah. There's a nice use of like Fletch realizing her ridiculous potential. Like that because she's weirdly multi-classed in the 3 classes, she has a bunch of weird abilities
All
that you
makes
wouldn't
sense for this moment.
It seems perfect in this one moment to be a multi-classed bard rogue fighter. Yeah. Yes, exactly, Jinx. And a lot of it is that euphoria of, I didn't die, I'm still alive. It's a nice round for Fletch.
Yeah.
This is where Hoik. Oh no,
Hoik already happened. You say wretch.
Hoik already happened. Wretch, yeah. we talked a little bit about Perkins and his spell casting.
Oh yeah.
We wanted to go a little farther than most players in the way that Perkins generally is, where he just takes it that extra step. And we wanted to have him specifically have written out the phrases in Draconic or whatever that he's shouting, and have accompanying hand gestures. This one is maybe my. Oh no, we've already done blindness, right? Which is smacks her in the face. That was maybe my favorite. That it's very ornate description, and then it's just a green ray that just whacks her. Just whack. It's just very undramatized.
Because he gets to he'll do the thing all cool, and then he like sneaks in with
yeah. But that's the conceit, is that every time it's the same thing, right? That he's written each individual spell that he takes. What are the words, and what does it look like, and that kind of thing. Because that's just how he rolls. He's got his little journal, which I think was Kevin's idea originally, that he had a little sort of moleskin notebook with all of the spells in it.
Yeah, he wrote those all out too in calligraphy.
Jinx Fox asks, what kind of spellcaster is Zai again? And Kailani replies, the best TM. Zydromenes is a wizard, but it could be argued that he is the best wizard TM.
The biggest wizard.
So, the largest wizard. Yeah, he is a wizard in the sort of Gandalfian tradition. Although I would make a strong case that Gandalf would not be statted up as a wizard, because he doesn't really follow the wizarding motif. Let's talk about that instead of experience.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Small nod to the giant whale-mouthed ceramic in the background of almost every episode. It's just this weird candy dish that we had, and we needed back there because otherwise there's just this TV void of blackness, and we needed something to break it up. And so there's this whale dish.
Vaguely ghastly looking whale, just with this Richter Mortis smile on its face, just
has candies in it.
Yeah,
it's over my shoulder.
You don't really
of course.
see it, but in some of the Mac Nadine coverage, it's extremely visible over Mac's shoulder.
I think it's funny.
It is funny. It's very weird and off character for Alan. I feel like I don't know why he has such a silly thing.
Probably got it from an aunt. Or something.
Yeah, that aunt that comes over all the time.
I don't know, man.
That has to leave it out just in case. Where's my whale? She says as she comes.
Oh, shit.
That's episode 11.
Woo! Well, if you're just joining us, I don't think any of you are, but if you did somehow just join us, I'm Kate, one of the co-creators of Experience Points, and I'm with
Timothy, one of the other co-creators of Experience Points, and one half, the more bearded half, and the balder half of Team XP.
Correct. I just pull off my wig.
And you grow a beard.
Suddenly. Experience Points is a 12-part web series about D&D and the people who play it. It's currently on YouTube, and you can watch it at some point. Not right now, because you're busy, you're with us, you're hanging out. We're having a good time. We have started a Patreon to fund Season 2, so if you want, you can check it out. It's awesome, and there's lots of cool things that we'll be starting next month for backers. Well, for everybody, but then backers kind of have an option of participating more. Boy, what else? Super bad at pitches.
No, I think you got it, dude. That sounds.
I said it all.
Right.
I'm the best.
We're currently watching episodes 9 through 12 and giving some commentary. There's only one episode left. Well, Dish versus Sassy Sock grudge match. We're currently watching episodes 9 through 12. So this is the end. If you have not seen the show, I would warn you against maybe continuing to watch as much as we want to have you in the chat, because it will be full of spoilers. Big old, hairy, smelly spoilers.
Why? Why would you?
But,
why?
I'm just saying, they're here. There's some spoilers. That's a not inaccurate way to describe them. But yeah, we're about to roll into episode 12, which is our finale. I think it's probably the most unique episode, if something could be most unique. Mm-hmm. It's definitely the one that kind of stands out the most from the rest, I feel. Do you have anything else you want to add before we just get playing? Okay.
No, I really like the end montage, and again, credits for whatever reason are important to me, so I had a lot of fun building the credits and then splitting them up for the smaller episodes, but they're here in their entirety, and also I like end montages, So like both of those things were a lot of fun for me to do in this one. I think it's just the right amount of sentimental. Also, thanks Dark Jade. We appreciate that.
Yeah, Dark Jade was a very nice comment. I've watched several episodes. It's really good. Thanks, Dark Jade.
Yeah.
Are you ready to play this, Kate? Let's do it.
Yes.
I guess.
Unless there's anything else you want to do. Anything else?
Oh man. I
Checkers?
think I'm good to watch the last episode.
Fine. All right. You asked for it.
You could be watching the Oscars, but instead you're watching this. We strongly support that choice.
Dad joke. You got one in there.
I did. I appreciate that Nadine played it for all that it's worth.
Oh,
as
she
the
really did.
daddiest joke of all time.
Really milking it.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. That's a very Kate Angie. I forget what is the specific line. Piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Oh.
You rolled it
Oh.
poorly, yeah.
And above all,
Yeah.
an intense pain
Uh-oh.
starts to rack you.
Oh no. I've actually been petrified.
Yes, I have petrified
Yeah.
Kate's character in a previous campaign by a cockatrice, not a Medusa.
Yeah.
But yes,
Been there.
you were quickly healed from that.
Yeah.
That didn't last too long.
It's
but
hardly
you were
dramatic.
petrified.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and this is another classic maneuver of mine, as we're about to see in a second here. After this extremely necessary evil monologue.
Oh yeah, with your super dramatic wording.
Yeah, it gets pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think Alan sort of knows he's like, this is
None
it.
can
I'm gonna-
defy the
I'm gonna
serpent.
cut him off.
And that
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this is another maneuver of mine. I don't do it as often as maybe is depicted here, but I do like to end episodes of my campaigns in extremely dire circumstances. It's not always possible, but sometimes. That's my specific wording usually is, and that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Usually.
this concludes
Yeah.
episode 30, Sisters of Steel.
That's it.
So
Party's
for those
over.
of you who want to know what's going to happen to them, I mean, I think that's kind of the whole mystery here, is that you never really learn the fate of this party, right? That it's meant to be a little tiny snapshot into what their campaign looks like, and it's intentionally left with a lot of questions about, does Mac get petrified? What do they do with Duchess Nightspear? What's the fate of Darzovia? As cruel as it seems, it was always a core tenet to me that those questions never be answered.
Yeah.
At least not in the show form.
Yeah. I thought these camera angles I think are particularly interesting because we never go behind his screen per se, but like this is kind of as close as we get to being behind the Dungeon Master's screen because it's done. So we just wanted to stay in wides of the table and just kind of like the adventure's done. So like the
Yeah.
camera kind of becomes inactive. We don't do, like split screens or anything like that. You're just kind of like observing it sort of dissolve, which was like
Yeah.
really intentional.
It was a little strange to shoot. I remember it feeling a little weird, right? Like,
Yeah.
or not necessarily strange to shoot, but like strange to edit or watch over afterwards. Feeling like, what happened to the split screen? Like,
Yeah.
I just got so used to it that like it does kind of throw you for a loop for a little bit, which I think is kind of
Right.
part of the point.
And it's an angle that we haven't seen before either, and it's more distant. Alan as the Dungeon Master is just alone in his frame completely. We rarely see him until later in frame with anybody else, and then all of the four players are just kind of together gathering up their things and whatever. So
Yeah, this is a big heady chunk of Simologue as well. It's broken up by the occasional non-Simologue section, but it was another thing I do a lot is keep track of number of critical hits and things like that. My players usually ask me to keep track of stats like that. I like to hear them at the conclusion of major arcs or things like that. So I wanted to kind of represent the little bit of housekeeping that is usually done, at least by me, at the end of the session. And just like she came in the last, she's the first to leave. Nadine is about to take off here. Her Uber. Her Lyft.
her lift. Yeah.
Lyft, yeah.
Different.
Yep, there it is. She's gone. Yeah,
Bye, Nadine.
she goes.
Lancashire. Now it gets like super LA.
Yeah, it does. Kylania says that season 2 will be a taxi chase that turns into an aha take on me as pencil adventure where the actors turn into their characters. I am a little upset, Kailania, that you kind of blew the lid off our plans.
Now we'll
I'm
have to
currently
change it.
dragging my script over into the recycling bin and deleting it.
Yeah.
Because it's all out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Herm. He likes the use of us showing the texts.
Thanks.
Bit of House of Cards style.
Yeah.
Glimpse phones.
That would be
there's
kind
some
of
fun-
modern.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to talk over this scene though.
Oh.
I'll do you. Delicious wide shot. Yeah, that's the one.
So dopey. I love that he's there silhouetted. It's so funny.
Uh-huh. The reveal that he did very likely shit in there. Yeah, I think not to harp on it, but that's one of those really important scenes. I think this kind of ties the whole season together. Is that you realize that it's not just a silly game that they play where they pretend to be elves, but there are emotional stakes for the characters here as well.
We're really happy that so many people could relate to it, Jinx Fox. We're glad that it meant a lot to you. We're hoping that it meant a lot to a lot of people and that a lot of people can relate, again, with, just how much it can mean to people, the community that you build, and like the creative outlet that it provides, and it's sort of just like a safe space that's 100% risk-free, basically. It's just kind of like a nice, comforting thing to have.
And of course the sad backing up with the session, which I don't necessarily think was written to be as sort of despondent almost as it comes off. It has a little bit of sentimentality to it, which I like, but I think people really picked up on it more than I thought they would, which is cool. I like that. That wasn't honestly what I was writing when I wrote it, but I like that it's taken on that. And it just looks so good. Look at the way Adam shot this.
Yeah.
It's just pretty.
I really liked filming this. It was just nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to see little flashes in everybody's life. There's Greg's kid.
Greg's kid is actually a boy, who's playing a girl, because at that age, you can't tell. It's my good friend Mari and her son as a little girl.
Jolie.
Yep.
Yeah.
There
some pink
she
pants.
is. Totally a girl. Yeah, that's fine.
Super cute, though. Cute little Thaddeus. Yeah.
We didn't have the rights to the Hulk piano theme, Hermley, so we couldn't use it for backing up music, but this is what we can do.
God, the Hulk piano theme.
Dark Jade,
course,
yes, the cast kind of changes a little bit. We have some flashbacks, so that's why. Sorry. Yes, our awesome, cool cameo of Erica.
Erica Ishii, who, for those of you who don't know, was originally cast as Nadine, but unfortunately could not, because of schedule conflicts, participate in the full show, but was extremely gracious in making some time to come out and make a little cameo. Which I think was a pretty last-minute thing. I think we were shooting, and I thought, like, wouldn't it be funny if her Lyft driver was Erica? It was just like, hey, Erica, do you want to come out in the evening?
Yeah.
It might have been one of our last days of shooting, too. Right?
Yeah, it was, because that was the last day that we had Greg, and we had to shoot in the neighborhood, and, like, that was weird, and like, do all this guerrilla filmmaking, which we had been safe in the apartment, and then when you go out on the street, and you have, like, a light that you're shining, and it's, like, 9 p.m., and all these, like, neighbors are mad at you.
For those of you who don't live in Los Angeles, that city is pretty hostile to independent filmmakers because of how people try to do this kind of stuff. So it can be a little scary to go and film on the streets.
Yeah.
You're worried you're gonna get busted. Fine.
You're always ready to like run away. So it's
Yeah.
just like really nerve-wracking.
Our last shot. Yeah. Get it?
Do you understand?
Do you understand
Please.
the heady symbolism? Here comes Kate's beloved credits.
God, they were I just like credits. Everyone leave me alone.
Yes, please do, Dark Jade. I'm not sure if there was a roommate. Oh, yes. Well, Trevor
Yeah.
was originally Perkins' roommate, and one of his best friend was originally cast, or was originally in the party, and he's the one that left for grad school before Mac comes in and takes his place. So you see him in some of the flashbacks, and they reference him in some dialogue, but yeah, he's not a core cast member in the first season. No. Thanks, Dark Jade. Yeah, they're pretty cool credits.
Yeah.
He's pretty proud of them.
I love
That song-
credits.
That song is so good too.
The credits,
That's a big
yeah,
part
it
of
makes it. Really does. All right, I can turn them off.
Oh, I thought we were gonna watch all the credits. Wasn't that the point?
And then I started to feel weird about it. Okay.
No, I mean, because a lot of these are Indiegogo backers, right? A lot of
Right.
these people,
Yep.
So we want to give them.
Yes, Trevor left for grad school. He did not die or
He did not perish,
anything.
as is strongly implied in the text. There was a version, as we previously covered, that explained that, but then that line somehow got cut without me realizing it, and then there was never another line written to explain his disappearance. The only line that is in there is Perkins saying, "May he rest in peace," which seems to strongly imply that he perished. But it's meant to be sarcastic because he just went to grad school, which you wouldn't know because there's no dialogue about that.
Right.
That's on me. Trevor is very much alive and will certainly probably make an appearance in the show. Awesome. Well, thanks for watching, guys. That was episode 12. Yeah, he did not perish yet, Jinx Fox. He did not perish yet. Yeah, that was episode 12, the final episode, the finale of XP web series, which was our first season of the show that Kate and I made. I am Timothy J. Meyer, one half of Team XP, and the show's screenwriter and one of the two showrunners. Joining me on this perilous quest was
Kate Inge. I'm the director and also co-creator on Team XP hashtag.
Yeah, and thanks for tuning in and watching. This is the last XP Weekly we're going to be doing for the foreseeable future. We are going to take a week off, but then I believe the second week of March, we are returning to this space at this time, 4 p.m. PST, streaming the first episode of our ongoing campaign. We don't have too many details to release at this point because we're still kind of drumming up our announcement, but I assume maybe sometime next week we'll make an official announcement as to what the sort of theme and concept of the campaign is, but it will be DM'd by me, and it will be starring all 4 members of our original cast. So Kate will be there, Cody will be there, Kevin will be there, and Heather will be there.
Yes.
It should be a lot of fun. If you enjoyed watching the show tonight, you can check out our Patreon, which I assume most of you guys already have, but if you have not, we are currently funding for a second season. Dark Jade 68 asked, your first funding was from a crowdfunder. That is correct. We funded our first season through Indiegogo, but are currently funding our second season through Patreon. If you become a patron on our Patreon campaign, you get a bunch of nice perks. You can harass me with dungeon mastering questions whenever you wish. You get some PDFs of some exclusive adventures that I'll be writing for that campaign. Although this month you get something extra special. You're going to get some actual play podcasts that we recorded that are pretty cool. And who knows, there may be some other prizes that we have yet to unveil for some higher level donors. We've been talking about it. It's pretty cool. Pretty exciting. But yeah, go check it out. I should be noted that we do not make any of the money from that Patreon. All of that goes exclusively to the creation of Season 2, and that this stream will always remain free to backers and non-backers alike. So even if you don't become a patron, you can always come here at least 3 of the 4 weeks out of the month and watch some exclusive XP-related content. Thanks, Firmly. We appreciate that. We would love to come and do some promotion on your channel as well. Cool. Do you guys have any more questions for us, for Kate and Timothy, before we sign off and let you go watch the Oscars or whatever that other thing is that's on tonight? Who cares? Kate, do you have any final thoughts on
third shirt
the season? things that you liked or didn't like about making it?
Boy, it was a big learning experience for sure. Production-wise, we had a pretty intense schedule. Filmed a lot in a very short period of time. There are definitely things that I would like to do differently now, knowing how we did them before. So I'm excited to implement a lot of that new planning and strategy. I feel like a season 2 is going to be stronger, quality-wise. I just think now we know what we're doing, so now we can like ramp it up.
Yep. I think our first season was very successful, but I also think it was a big learning experience for us in learning our limits and our capabilities and things we could have done better and things that we could have done more of. And so I'm really excited to get back in, or even just in the writing season and learn from, I wouldn't say the mistakes, but from the experiences that we had in our first season for sure. Chat. Ass shirt. I don't want to waste anybody's, money on something as frivolous as an additional shirt, but we are in the 3rd season to have Alan wear a different t-shirt inside this sweater. In fact, if you watch the teaser that we released a couple weeks ago, there is an Easter egg to the shirt color that he wears next season, and surprise, it is a different color than green. Who knows?
Or his shirt has faded so much that it is now a different color.
And disgusting.
We can't be sure.
It's turned a different color.
So it's all up for
Dark
speculation.
Jade 68. Right, yeah. There'll probably be a line about it that gets cut from the final version. Dark Jade 68 asks, so $250 a month funds season 2. We would very much like to make a season 2 no matter what, but $250 a month is a little under budget for us. We would love to get up to about $500 a month. But no matter what you guys can provide, we will put that towards the season 2. It just may take a little longer to continue to fundraise. It's basically the only thing there. So $500 a month is really the goal. But $250 a month, our next goal, will get our crew, we'll get our cinematographer some crew, which is vitally important. There were a few days on set during the first season where he was pretty much our only crew member, and that, if you're not in the film business, is pretty heinous.
Pretty bad.
To an extremely talented cinematographer like our friend Adam. So go ahead and consider making a donation if you haven't already. We could really use the help.
Spread the word.
Spread the word, yeah, and if you can't, there's tons of other ways you can help out. Retweet, talk about the show, invite your friends, show it to your party. We found that's one of the best ways to get it out there is to, if you're a DM or you're a player, take it to your adventuring group and say, dudes, have you checked this out? It's pretty cool. I like it. You should like it too. Why don't you like it as much as I am? I don't think we can be friends anymore. You don't have to go that far. Just least amused face. Great, guys. Well, unless you have any other questions, I think we're probably going to sign off for now for the nons. We're still on Twitter. You can find us at XB Web Series on Twitter. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can find us on Patreon as well, as listed there. Thanks for coming in and watching, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Stay tuned for more experience points.
I guess I gotta stop streaming now. High five.
Yeah, do it.
High five. Pew, 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 pew.